Fame, I want to live forever. I want to learn how to fly high. I can feel it coming together. People will remember my name. Fame. Fame. Oh, I don't think I've got that quite right, have I? It's great, it's hot. And it was a last minute thought to start off with a little bit of a song for you. That, of course, was the theme song to Fame, which was a TV show that ran in the early 80s. I was about 11, 12, 13 when it came out. There was a whole bunch of characters on it. I think everyone's favourite was Leroy. But there was a more studious chap there. He was the keyboardist, Bruno. And Bruno had sort of Italianate looks, a Gino Vanelli style hair, cuts, you know, slow, sad eyes, you know. And I have to be honest, that's exactly what I looked like back in 1981, 82. And so I used to walk home from school, and because I had a big hair, because I wasn't into the trends of the time, up until Fame coming along, I used to get shouted and called and bullied under the name Hair Bear, which was a cartoon around, Hanna-Barbera cartoon about some hippie bears that were in a zoo or something. The Hair Bear bunch. But that then got swapped to Bruno. I didn't mind that so much. So Fame was I didn't like being called Bruno. And at that age, some of the girls who were walking home from school, they started to go, it's Bruno, it's Bruno. And I gotta be honest, I found that quite embarrassing being a boy, you know, transforming to a man. But as I transformed to a man, I became very aware that a man needed to go out into the world and succeed. That there was a pecking order. It was dog eat dog. There's no point in it. The schools, they said it wasn't like that. It was we were all a community, but now I knew that was a lie. It was quite obvious to me that it was dog eat dog. It was a pecking order. And in my school, if you were the top of that pecking order, you didn't get bullied. But if you were a few down, you know, and you happen to just without, you know, choosing to look like Bruno from Fame, you know, that was my identity group. There was an identity group at my school called People Who Look Like Bruno, and I was the only bloke in it. And because of that, I had prejudice. The Bruno phobes picked on me, but they picked on me for all sorts of reasons. I can remember one chap whose dad happened to own the big sort of factory in my town, and he was a millionaire. And he had this little spoilt brat of a kid. And I was walking home and he started to call me Bruno and Hair Bear, and he started spitting and he spat on my back. And my mate, who was a good mate of mine, he turned around and stepped in and he punched this bloke, and this bloke punched him back and he had his nose broken. I just stood and watched it. I always thought it was best not to get involved, but he was another man fighting on my behalf because he was my friend. And when I think back to that event, that's what I feel bad about that. It wasn't right. It wasn't right what I did. Now, there's another situation. I was walking home with school, and another group of kids who were in my year started spitting on my back. And I was getting annoyed by it because the other one was just one spit, but this was continual. I was getting gob all over the back of my coat. And I'm walking along, trudging along on my own this time. And I didn't do anything because the kid who was doing it behind me, his big brother was following on behind him. So eventually I turned off and they didn't follow me. I got in and my dad was home, and I walked in and burst out crying, and my dad said, what's happened? I told him. And so my dad, being a certain type of man, born just before the Second World War, with a certain bunch of male values, decided at this age, I was probably 10, 11, to put me in the car and drive round to this kid's house. And we parked up outside, and my dad went up to the door and he knocked the door, and this bloke came, and my dad said to this man, your son's been spitting on my son's back. And the bloke went, so? He said, well, I don't like it. Well, he should have done something about it, shouldn't he? And my dad said, well, he couldn't really, because he was coward behind his big brother who was sat there laughing and would have punched my son because he's twice the size. That doesn't seem fair to me. Does it seem fair to you? He said to the other man, and the other man didn't know what to make of this. You know, my dad would get into a fight, but he was also very, very clever, and he knew how to negotiate. Negotiation is a very important thing in this life. He knew how to negotiate. What could they do? So his dad grudgingly sent the young boy out in front, and I stood up to him, looking forward in my upset and anger to breaking his face. And I stood there looking at him, and my dad said, "So, do you want to have a fight?" And the other kid went, "No." And then the dad, seeing the weakness, went, "Oh, well, what are you going to say to this lad? Sorry." And this guy was my friend after that, of course. That is a sort of male negotiation. If you're a female, or some sort of lily-livered, soft-handed type of man we have nowadays, you might not be aware of these sort of negotiations, but they go on all the time. I want to talk about these negotiations in relation to music. As we went through school, a bunch of us went off to uni, and in going off to uni we had all sorts of adventures, and it was fun. You met new people. I went to art college. It was more erudite. It was more artsy fartsy. The people were more interested and wilder and weirder. But my mates who didn't, they left school and went into some horrendous job. By the time we finished our degree, all my mates who were in the jobs, they all had a ton of money. So they were driving around in their cars, all looking like Harry Enfield's Loads of Money, looking terrible. Whereas I had dreadlocks and, looked like a hippie and all that type of stuff. And I'm walking around like this because I've given my life over to something else, to creativity. I hadn't really, though. I could pretend to be like that. But all of us had chosen this artistic, creative route. What we wanted was to become famous, notorious. We wanted to have status. Being more intelligent and maybe being a little more lateral thinking, we'd come to realise that money wasn't the top of the hierarchy. Being able to beat people up was not top of the hierarchy. All right? The top of the hierarchy was status. Status. I knew that by the time I was 18, 19. Status. Status is the currency of the music industry. Right? Status is what makes it go round. Now, the music industry has now collapsed. It doesn't exist anymore. There is an industry that utilises music to make vast amounts of money, right? One of those industries is YouTube, that not only has its own music streaming service, this is rapidly becoming the biggest music streaming service in the world. It's the one I use usually. There are more weirder albums on here than there are on Spotify. But also it's a place for people like me who were once like trying to get a pathetic living where I had no bloody status whatsoever, bottom of the pile for my whole life, right? Eking, just trying to survive, trying to hold on. All I want is to be able to not have to go and get a job. I don't want to get a job. I just need to try and somehow make some money out of this bloody drumming thing. It's so impossible. It was impossible for the whole 30 years I did it for. Right, and then just as I thought I was going to have a breakdown and die, YouTube comes along for me. I was forced into a corner. I had a realisation. I remember it happening. It was like I got to the black gates of chaos. Like in Lord of the Rings when they go up to the gates of Mount Doom and that bloke with the horrible mouth comes out and starts talking to him. And that was the mouth of doubt. Andy, you had it. You'll never go back into teaching. Nobody wants you. You're old. And your views are out of date. Nobody wants to know about playing instruments anymore. It's all going to be about AI and downloading. Your time's come. Even if you try and get a job in a chip shop, they won't have you. And you won't be able to... There's no way you could possibly survive. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then suddenly I realised, a little bit like outside that house with that kid, I realised what I had to do. And I drew my metaphorical sword. And that bloody mouth that was going like this, I chopped it off. And I thought, I'm all right today. I think I'll be all right tomorrow. I'm going to go out and do exactly what I bloody want. Freedom's a wonderful thing. To be able to live in a society which is free, where you can express yourself, is a wonderful thing. And that's the only thing you've got. Right? That's my religion. That's what I place my faith in. I place it in creativity and free expression and getting there and going off your bloody head and doing whatever you want to do. Right? Throughout my whole time trying to have a career in that, I was very aware that the reason why we're chasing it was because there was something more important than money. Right? And sometimes in this business you get close to it. And I got close to it a number of times. But for many years, and I'm going to mention his name, and I know some of you don't like it, but I don't know how many of you have played for Robert Plant, and if you have, then you can go, well, I've played for Robert Plant too, so shut your face. But if you haven't played for Robert Plant, shut your face and listen, because you might learn something. So for about 4 or 5 years, I was very close to not just someone who's famous, but one of the most famous people, a person that the bloody Prime Minister of the country would bow down to, a person where Barack Obama will bow down to the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant. And so travelling with Robert, so many times I felt I was in a hallowed place. I felt like I was sat in the antechamber of Mount Olympus so many times, not inside it, but I was in the antechamber. And you know what that's filled with? Multi-millionaires. Rich people. And rich people so rich that they can buy their way in to being in the presence of a proper superstar like Robert Plant. And why are they all there, all those rich people? What do you do then? Oh, I'm one of the biggest agents in the world. We work for Pink Floyd. Oh, so you're a multimillionaire? Oh, yeah, we're a multimillionaire. I don't really want to talk to you anymore because you seem like you're not that important. You know, all of that was quite apparent. Absolutely apparent. Okay? To me. Bloody hell, these people. I thought rock and roll was all about, you know, smashing hotels and hanging out with girls that look like Bridget Nielsen. That's what I thought it was about. Not this, hoi-polloi lawyers and posh people with all their manners. You do one thing out of line, they don't like it. The musicians that are in the band for a famous person, they are sat at the side like they shouldn't be there. Really, honestly, they want for the catering, they really are. That's why they go off and cause trouble. Shall we get out of here? Yeah, I can't be asked to talk to these bloody lawyers and owners of huge media conglomerates. You know, well, do you want to go over? Shall we go over back home and see if we can see if we can get inside the telly and write knob in permanent pen? Oh, that'll be good. Imagine when they switch the telly on, they have to look at knob. Oh, that'll be good. This is literally the things that people would do. I know some members, and this wasn't in a way out band, I could tell you some stories, but these are the sort of real quiet ones. Someone actually took apart a TV once in a sort of ironic gesture of throwing the TV out the window. Now, they weren't going to do that. They took it apart and glued all the parts to the ceiling of the hotel. I know people that would go into a hotel, take all the pictures off the wall and write the most disgusting, racist, sexist, homophobic language, and then put the picture back on the wall so you didn't know it was there. I know, and now I can't. I was just about to say another one. I thought, no, let's not say that one. So, you know, this is the nature of it. And some of you go, oh, that'd be brilliant. Can you imagine that, being in a rock and roll band and being able to go around the world doing all these naughty things? Well, you can't anymore because the internet. You know, what happens on the road stays on the road. No, it doesn't stay on the road. It goes up on the internet now. Right? So there's not that anymore. My point is everything's gone. It's not just the fact there's no money, you can't have albums, and there's no budget to do big gigs, and there's no budget to pay anybody. Right? And the fact that that's all gone, and everybody who is out there trying to do it is now 80 years old. And they don't have that much fun, really. You know, if you're working at the pace of an octogenarian, it's not that exciting. You know? So, my point is that fame is still the number one currency of this industry. And even though this industry is shuffled over to being owned by non-musical entities, so there is not a music industry, but there is an industry. And although I now extract cash from you via you watching my videos, which don't involve me doing that much music, but it involves me at a certain age talking about music. My job is here to come on here and do a monologue. And I like to do them off the top of my head unscripted because I think it makes it more exciting for you. And I like to have some ideas and explore them and get to somewhere. And I like to be as surprised as you when I get to the conclusions I'm working to on this one, which is all about fame. You know, fame. I haven't really spoken about fame on my channel. 1,500 videos, I've even spoken about fame. And yet it's the most important thing. It's the currency. It's what gets you in. It's what gets you out. And what is status? What is fame? The reason why status and fame is so valuable in our industry, because it represents something. It represents what that person who has status, it represents what they can do for you and what they can do to you. Now, these people who have it, they're famous, but many of them that are really, really famous, their talent is that they are famous. Right? Their talent is that when they walk into a room, their charisma beams out. What the hell is charisma? It's any force that somebody has that's magnetic that draws people to them. That could be anything. A serial killer can have charisma. A serial killer can be the most uncharismatic person, but the fact you know they're a serial killer and they sit there looking like a normal person embodies them with charisma. Charisma is nothing to respect. Every artist that has charisma, and I've met them, I've met famous people who don't have charisma. I've met famous people that do have charisma. Those who have record deals, like instrumentalists. If you take guitar, for example, the guitar world is always going to favour people like John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, Steve Vai, because they are all good-looking blokes who command the stage, move amazingly and have charisma. Whereas if you look like Sean Lane or Alan Oldsworth, I think Alan Oldsworth had charisma. I met Alan Oldsworth, I spoke to him, he didn't have charisma. Robert Plant had charisma. B.B. King had charisma. Those are the people I met that had charisma. Fame, status, all right? So what's the point of this little monologue here, Philosophy Sunday, when we get winded it up and we get into all these things? What is the point of this one? Well, how's it working now? What's going on with it? And can I bring my experience now of my situation? When I got the gig with Robert Plant, we would turn up at a place and we were the band, and all this reflected glory shone on us. And if you brought your friend and you arrived at a venue that's got 4,000 people with 1,000 outside, and the police have to stop it and they're holding the crowd back, and you get out of the car and you're the first one out with your mate, and everyone looks to see if it's Robert Plant because they're so excited, and they look at you in a state of, oh, it's not Robert Plant, but they might have something to do with Robert Plant. And then Robert Plant steps out of the car behind you and you're walking together, and your mate who's never experienced this before goes, oh my God, this is amazing. Mate, they haven't come to see you. If you're walking on here and you wonder, no, I don't care, because I'm feeling it. I'm in it right now. I'm in the hallowed space. This is unbelievable. What's it feel like? It feels like everybody's my friend and everybody wants to know me. It feels like wherever I go, people think they know me. They want to say hello. They want to come up and shake my hand. They want to help me. It's like suddenly the world's become all nice to me. It's as though, you know, my local community, you know, that thing when you go down the road in your local community that we don't have anymore. But imagine the old days, the imagined idea of a local community. When you leave your door and you go down to the local shop, you know the bloke in the local shop, and as you walk, you go past the bloke who does the windmill, you know, Windy Miller. You're right, Windy, how you doing? You're right, Andy, I'm all right. How's your bloody dog doing? Oh, I had to chop his leg off in the end. Oh, what did you do? Did you cook it or just chuck it? We cooked it. I mean, you can't, you know, throw out a bloody bit of dog leg. Oh, I know, I like a bit of dog leg. You know, old Betty, you know, the seamstress that lives, oh, I know her well, known her my whole life. She's become a vegetarian. What's one of those then? I don't know. She just bloody eats vegetables. She wouldn't be caught dead eating a dog leg. As you walk through this place, having these conversations, you fill up with the warmth. Oh, everyone's around me. They're all on my side. And then we go into this atomised, you know, 1920s modernist cog in the machine. We all become like bloody Charlie Chaplin stuck in the cogs, aren't we? All in our little regimented space, you know. It's all gone bloody robotic. Everyone dresses the same. It's the 1950s. They've all got bowler hats. They all stand at the station. They all walk the same way as they go into their office. And when they turn the paper over, which is just numbers and it's boring, everyone turns it over at the same time, like in that film with Tony Hancock, The Rebel. Right, that idea of modernism And it breaks down. We don't want it, 1960s. We don't want it. What do we want? We want to have a village again. Can't we just go up to Woodstock and, take drugs and strip off and listen to Jimi Hendrix? Seems like something to do with it. It's better than bloody being a robot. We won't be a robot. You see, this is what people want, belonging. And then you get a taste of that fame. It's not yours. You just get a taste of it. And suddenly the world becomes that. It all becomes Woodstock. It all becomes lovely. But not only that, you're in the best place always. Always you're in the best place. Best place going. That is what fame is. That's why people love it so much. When I was playing with Robert, I hate to say this, but I can remember being on tour once and came out the hotel, there's about 5 or 6 fans. Hello, are you Andy the drummer? You're the drummer, aren't you? Yeah. You couldn't sign this bit of paper, could you? Yeah, if you want. Look, I was just about to go and get myself a Coke and a packet of fags, and I ain't got any money in this country. Could you lend to someone? Yeah, of course I could. Here's 20 kroner or whatever it is. Oh, cheers, mate. I do really appreciate it now when you're on tour. So, yeah, don't worry about it. You can have whatever you want. You can have a girlfriend. No, it's all right, mate. It's all right. This, you realise the power that you'd got. Now, I had, at certain points in my life, a very, 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 very low level, I'm next to a famous thing, in a way. Robert by far, but then when I was in IQ, somewhat less, but you would still feel it. And you played at IQ and you turn up in a certain city and they've sold 1,000 tickets and you walk in and they know you're the drummer. You have exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter about the numbers, you're still in the same place. All right? But I found that the music industry was all fame by relation. You were in relation to something else. I don't know what the word would be. Fame by proxy could be how it was described. It was never me. You could get on Wikipedia, you could find me on there, you might be able to get into a record shop and search through the, 100,000 albums they got in there, you might find 2 with my name on. And I would do this, I'd go down to London into one of the big record shops, there's about 4 albums with my name on it. And I'd walk in and I'd walk up there on my own, no one realised, I'd pull that album out, turn it around, Andy Edwards on drums, and I go, you see, I've made a mark in the world. It doesn't matter what anyone says, it might be tiny, but I made a mark in this world. When that bloke was spitting on my back, they all thought I was going to be a failure because I couldn't fight. Because I wasn't that, because I wasn't bloody, alpha male top of the thing. But look, they are not like, what have they done? They're just stuck in a job now. I've made a mark on the world. After I die, people will remember my name. Fame. I want to live forever. See how my videos are so clever and they go around in circles and they all bloody brilliant stuff. Anyway, so, where was I? Self-aggrandizing. That's what I was. I was self-aggrandizing. And I said it right the second time. Yeah, say it another time. Say it again now. I don't want to try, Andy. You twice is enough to try and do a long word like that. So, he's putting himself down now. He was arrogant, he's putting himself down. He thinks he's clever, that bloke, Andy. He does. And the worst thing is when he does think he's clever, he starts talking to himself. And he starts talking in the third person like it's not him. He's doing it right now. We're thinking it's someone else talking about him and putting him down when it's actually him. And why does he do it? Because he wants you to think he's bloody ace. Every video Andy does is just to make you think he's ace. You think he's clever, or he's a good drummer, or he's got famous mates, or he can say clever things, or he can entertain you and make you laugh. And why does he want it? Because still, at his age, he can't let go of it. That man cannot let go of it. I can't. It's tattooed into my brain that the most important thing to be is famous. So last night I was playing in Bath, a tiny gig, 100-seater venue with a Tim Bonus. The audience are on top of each other. And I made a video for my members sat in the van outside. I felt very relaxed. It was a lovely day. We'd got set up. I knew that we were sound checked. All the stress was out of the way. All we had to do was look forward to actually playing. And there's a little oasis of happiness that comes in there, which has completely got nothing to do with fame. But outside, I could see the beginnings of the queue. Now, of course, everybody in that queue knew who I was. Why? Because I'm a drummer in Tim Bonus band. I played in IQ. No. Because all those music fans, every person in that queue was a music fan because they couldn't see Tim Bonus. And so the majority of them watch this channel. Some might be watching it right now who said hello to me that day. And as I walked in, I had this rosy glow as rather than, you know, oh, I'm going to get in. Yeah, Andy, when you want Andy? Yeah, oh, Andy, Andy. And they're all talking to me. They're all saying my name. I don't know who these people, I've never seen them in my life before, but they're all saying my name. Why? Because they all know who I am. They all love me. They like me. People came up to me, oh, your channel makes me laugh and you're so funny. You know, I really do. Yeah, I know there's like Rick Beato and all the other music YouTubers. They're not as good as me, are they? No. They can't do a monologue like me, can they? I'm the best at monologues, aren't I? I had to admit it. Here I am. Here we're coming up 25 minutes. I'm completely in control. The words are just spinning out today, you know. And why? Because I was on stage last night improvising and my videos are better the next day because it's like a bloody game. It's a game. I can sit here with about 5 or 6 ideas. They're all up in the air at the moment. I'm bringing them all in. I'm bringing them all in a lovely story with little outlying bits and bits that come in, maybe a few jokes. It's all bloody wonderful stuff. And it's profound because he's talking about, he's got into third person again. He's talking about the very thing that oils the music industry. It's the thing that everybody's upset about. I could come on here on a Philosophy Sunday and say, you know what music is, creative types? It's just about you sustaining your creativity. If you suddenly had 3 million quid in the bank, you could give up your job and just be creative all day long. You could buy yourself a studio, you could pay musicians to come in, you could make the best music ever. And when it was done, you could press it onto a little CD and just put it on the side. Like a bloody creative musical monk. No one listens to it. What do you mean, Andy? Because you fulfilled your creativity. That's what you want. Yeah, that's what I want. I just want to sustain my creativity. That's what I want. Yeah, Andy, that's what I want. No, you don't, you lying bastard. You want people to like it. You hope that your music sits there and goes out into the world and makes you into somebody that everybody likes to counter how you feel about yourself because you bloody hate yourself. That's why you're here. That's why we were at art college. That's why I had the dreadlocks. That's why you're here. That's why you listen to weird music nobody else likes. That's why you're here. This is making a point, right? Have I got any solution to this? Don't know yet. We'll see when we get there. But at the moment, we're at this bloody 30-minute mark and it reveals itself to you. Oh my God, yeah. I don't want to sustain my creativity. Once you let go of that, what is it about? I want to be famous. And what's the problem with being famous? Well, everybody wants to be famous, don't they? So it becomes a massive big, you know, like, it becomes like a big race. It's like I'm back at school, isn't it? Yeah. And if my metaphorical dad were to take me to some other musician and say, step me out on the lawn, say you got to fight now to see you one of the best one, I'll probably lose. Why? Because I'm not very good, really. I don't think I'm very good. That's why I cannot get anything done. So what are you doing? But I want to do something good. I want people to like me. But surely everybody wants to do that. So that's what we're all doing. Yeah, they are, aren't they? This is terrible, isn't it? It's not just, I mean, I should be able to just work out a way in my life. It's not too hard to work out a way of being creative and doing what I do. And I should be happy with that, shouldn't I? But I'm not, am I? No, you're not. None of us are. None of us are. None of us are in this. And I tell you something. When you put a piece of music on the next piece of music you put on, whatever it is, the next piece of music, if you said, why was this music made? Always, it's because somebody wanted to be famous. They wanted that music to go out into the world like a piece of magic and bestow sunshine and turn them into Robert Plant. All golden God, bare chest, big private parts, tight trousers. I come from the land of the ice and stove on the midnight sun with the hot winds go. All right, stop boasting, Robert. You come from West Bromwich. I don't come from West Bromwich. I come from the land of the ice with the white pool and the hot. But no, you don't, Robert. I do. Look at me. I do. I'm famous. Now stop having a go. I'll get one of my henchmen onto you. He didn't have henchmen. I'm making that up. Well, he might have. Anyway, but the point is here is that that is what this is about. That's what it's all about. Right? What can we do about it? What's the conclusion, Andy? Tell us what we're going to do. I don't know. Now you made me all depressed. You have all these videos saying also about sustaining your thing, to get yourself on Bandcamp, get your stuff out there. And I've done that. I've got 4 fans. It's not enough. 4's not enough. I got them all around the house that one day, all 4 of them. It was weird. Them all loving me. Just those 4 people. I didn't like it. It's too desperate. Why do I have to be like this? Why can't I fit into the world? I hate myself. I want the world to love me to make up for it. That's what it is, because my mum didn't love me. That's what it is, isn't it? If I can do a good piece of music, everyone likes it, but they don't like it, so it makes it worse. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? There's no solution, is there? Unless you fluke being famous. That's a fluke. I know it's a fluke. They're all fluked for every person that's famous. There's probably 10,000 that were just as good, just as charismatic, but they weren't famous. It's like the chances of a bloody turd coming out of an aeroplane from Donald Trump's bottom and falling through the sky and freezing solid and then hitting you on the head and knocking you out, and you hallucinate a dream in which you're famous. That is the same chance of actually becoming famous. What can we do? How do we fix it? I'm stalling now because I don't know the answer. If I knew that, I'm clever, right? I'm clever, right? I know I am, and I know I do good YouTube videos, but I can't solve this one, I'm afraid. I can bring us to the point. We're at the point now where you're saying, oh, I just feel I just feel strange. Some of you might not even be musicians. Some of you might be trying to get to this, you don't know it, just by buying records, being involved in it, turning up to the gigs. You know, maybe getting a comment off your favourite YouTuber. Me. Your favourite YouTuber. What's the answer, Andy? You've brought them here. Yeah, I'm just showing off, really. Yeah, but they're in a funny place now. They're in this place where they're not sure. You have to come up with some answer. I don't know. What could it be? Admit that you don't like yourself. Learn to love yourself. Really? I think so. You want the answer? The answer's this. Music's a dialectic, it always is, right? It can nourish you, it can kill you, right? It can make you feel that the world's the best place in the world. It can make you feel like it's desperate and there's no way out. It does everything all at the same time. That's what it's designed to do. All art deals with quality, how we feel about the universe. Music does that too, but music deals with a lower, visceral, emotional end of that. It's not intellectual. If you want something intellectual and be thinking about stuff, read a book. Right, music operates on a much deeper, visceral level, so it will go in and soothe those horrible demons down below. Those demons which are basically you inside going, you're not any good, and I'm frightened, and why do you do this to me all the time? I don't like this. Why do we have to go to work? Nobody fancies me. You know, that person that's inside doing that, right? Music goes in and can do both. And so when we look at the structure of music and we come out with this want to be loved, this need to be loved, which embodies itself because everything's at both ends of the telescope. There's you loving yourself. And there's the image of Marilyn Monroe at the other end. Marilyn Monroe, the most beautiful, the most seductive, the most childlike, the most charming woman, the embodiment of woman. Or on the other side, Elvis Presley, the most cocksure, coolest, moving, handsomest, you know, with a voice that embodies, you know, sort of the danger of black music with a sort of lovely sort of sleepy time, you know, Bing Crosby sort of close-up, you know, hot chocolate, Ovaltine. All of that he's got Elvis as. That's why he's the top of the thing. That's why he's there. Right? Music does all these things all the time and every single way. The sublime is the unification of both. Right? So, when I turn up here, I'm either making music there or I'm talking to you. I start with this idea that I half know what I'm talking about and the other half I don't know what I'm talking about. And that is an embodiment of me being inside my head and thinking, but also being inside the world and all the world impinging on me. And you become a part of this moment in time, this moment that is always there. But the art makes you realise the moment. And in the moment, the sublime exists. So in that moment when you start to create music is the seed that will make you famous, that will make you, and what that will be is transmitting this idea of freedom and love and placement in the world to somebody else. If you can make them feel like that, right? And if I can make you feel like that, that you are in a time at the moment which is unique, and all your life has led up to this moment in time, and all my life has led up to this moment in time, and the most influential bit is last night at this gig, right? And so all these things have happened. Now there's a members video here, and you will see that moment enshrined in this channel where I'm sat outside. I mentioned it. That was the key yesterday. It wasn't the gig. The gig was interesting because at the end of it, I smashed my drums up. Right? I smashed my drums up in an act of defiance. But sat outside with you lot, chatting about the construction of the Spitfire, not the car, but the aeroplane, with a couple of fans, and them quoting Laurie Anderson, actually levelled something for me. And then I was inspired to sit on camera, because I was doing a YouTube video, but to say, shall we just listen to the surroundings? And as I listened, it was busy and lots of people were walking around. And this girl came up and she rang up her mom. And I listened to it like a piece of music. The way she spoke, the way she phrased, not the meaning of the words, the sound of the words, was a daughter talking to a mother loved the daughter loved the mother, and you could hear the love in the voice. And in the beautiful sun where I was relaxed and I needed nothing, no food, no toilets, I was in no man's land, the no man's land that exists between the sound check and the gig, and I was sat there and this girl was talking. I couldn't see her, but I could hear her, and I had my eyes shut, and I realised every part of my body was still. And as she spoke, it was absolutely beautiful. The phrase, it was like music, so subtle, with the underlying bird song and the fake cars driving around. And I closed my eyes and I went into my ears, and I realised my ears gave me such a stronger idea of this moment in time that I was in, this precise moment in time, which was last night. This is a piece of art, so I am now embodying that in this monologue at the end of this. This becomes the pinnacle of this video, unknowing as it was to me. But these things are drawn together, and it's interesting because you can go and become a member. You have to give you some money, by the way, but you can go and watch the moment I'm talking about if you want. That's called capitalism. But let's sidetrack that. So I'm sat there and she's talking, it's very beautiful, and I close my eyes and I realise that the power of music to put you in a place, far more than a photograph. The power to place you in the moment, that the music is about being in the moment. If you can be in that moment, you're a good musician. The fame, the status will come from that. The love will come from that. The expression of your love for your life, right? Which your life is your life. It's no greater or lesser than anyone else's, but to you, it's the most wonderful thing there is. But you have to see it. You have to become aware of it. You have to close your eyes and listen in and concentrate. And you have to focus on the meaning. At that point, you don't think about the meaning. You just focus. You just listen. And as I said that, round the corner came this blind bloke with his white stick, feeling his way through the Bath roads. And here you are now, right in this moment. And if this was interesting to you, for most people it won't be interesting because they won't know what the hell I'm talking about. But for those of you, the esoteric, because art's always about the esoteric, I want all my subscribers, I want to be famous, I want to be more famous, I want 1 million subscribers. But the truth is, with art, is the real power of it is hidden in this moment here. The esoteric group that have followed me to this point where we are together. I've admitted I want to be famous. I want it. But at the same time, here I am riding the YouTube snake. Right? Like Jim Morrison. I'm like the Jim Morrison of YouTube, but older. and probably not as charismatic, although I'd like to think now I have this moustache that is going some way to creating some sort of image equal to Jim Morrison, but in YouTube terms. Iconic. And as we sit here, we approach this final moment, and it'll be here with us soon, where we are not only in the moment together, but we are fully realised that we are in this moment together right now, and that everything that's happened to me has led me up to this moment. Everything, and everything that's happened to you has brought you to this moment, and we're together, and you're listening to me right now talk, and you are listening, and I'm talking. And if you followed me to this point and got anything out of it, the most profound thing is that what is going on between you and me, just you and me as two individuals, is an expression of a common interest, a common liking, and really it's an expression of love. Not in a gay way. Bloody hell. Who said that at the back? Bloody hell. Can't say it. When we got there then, we just got there and it was all bloody good. You know, and then you had to crack that at the back. Who was it? Who was it? Had to say that joke, you know. I mean, the joke only works because you know it's only blokes watching this. I mean, if there's any ladies in that moment when they were feeling the love between me and them, that they thought, oh yeah, and you know, I know he's getting older, but he's got that t-shirt, and he's got a bit sweaty today. What's he been up to before? You know, oh, I don't mind that, you know, but no, I don't. You know, I've got nothing against the gays at all. I love the gays. They're all part of this. Some of you may be gay, and you know, I don't. You've ruined it, you idiot, Andy. You've bloody ruined it. You had a bit of palm in your hands and you had to throw it away on a stupid little joke. That's your problem. You always have to illustrate the great dialective. As above, so below, don't you? Always have to do it. Yeah, I suppose so. But did you feel it? Put it in the comments if you did. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.